Hi everyone, and welcome to the Stitch Sessions. If you're new here, it's Karen here, coming to you with a brand new crochet tutorial. I adore everything to do with crafting with crochet. So this week we are going to work on a kind of a problem I had that I used crochet to solve. So I've got this brand new speaker here, and I love the lilac color, but I noticed that this will quickly get dirty. So I decided to crochet myself a case in order to protect that. And so now it fits nice and easy in here, and we are good to go. It's a really easy design. And so we start from the bottom, we work in the round to create a circle with some increases, and then we stop increasing and we just continue to build up the side. At the very end, we add some handy handles here. Now you'll notice there's some funky texture here, and we created that by using the slanted spiked stitch. If you've ever done a spike stitch before, this one just has a little bit of a slant to it. And if you have never done this stitch before, I think you're going to be quite interested to see that it is very easy to accomplish. For the most part, I just used half double crochet stitches for the regular stitches. And then we used this fun little slanted spike stitch to create some texture. And I just did some color blocking here for some interest. And now I have this fabulous speaker holder. I can stick it in my dance bag, and I'm not going to worry that it is going to start looking dull and gungy. So that's what we're going to work on this week. Let's talk about our materials, and then we're going to stitch up this fabulous speaker case. All right, so the first thing you want to make sure you have on hand is the item that you're making the case for. So this is my Megaboom 4 Ultimate Ears speaker. I love this thing. It is so compact, and many of you guys know that other than doing crochet, I am a ballroom dance instructor, and I've been doing this for 29 years. And a good sound system is main essential that you're going to have to carry with you. So just make sure whatever speaker or boombox that you have it with you. So this happens to be mine, Megaboom 4, and it's the Ultimate Ears. And actually, if you are wondering where I got this, I got it off of Amazon. So I will leave a link for it in the description box down below. It's got a lot of great sound, about 180 watts, which fills up a nice big room of 20 to 30 people. So that is the main thing you're going to need so that you can measure your project by. The yarn I'm going to be using is this 24/7 cotton by Lion brand. I love this yarn. You guys will have seen me use this a lot with like home decor projects because it's not only durable, like you can kind of kick it around a bit, but it's also great with moisture and high heat. So if you're looking to do some kitchen or bathroom projects, this is a great yarn to do it with. So I've got two here. This is some leftovers from another project. So in case you're wondering, this color is just simply called Cool Gray. They come in skeins of 100 grams, which contain 170 meters or 186 yards. So if you're looking to figure out how much you need. And this is white, which is also leftover from another project. So I'm going to try and use this up. I'm pretty confident I think these two are going to be enough for me. So that's the yarn I have. The hook size I'm going to be using. So the hook size I'm going to use for this project is actually going to be a 3.75 millimeter hook. I hope you can see that. And it's also known as an F or a size 5. And I'll put a graphic up there on the screen. I originally was going to do a size 5, but I actually wanted my stitches to sit a little closer. So if you just saw me almost introduce the size 5, that's why. So I'm actually going to use a 3.75 millimeter hook. And make sure, whoops, how did that get in there? Make sure that you have a yarn needle to weave in your ends and a handy pair of scissors to snip your yarn. You might also want, if I can find one, you might also want to have a little stitch marker on hand. You can use a safety pin or a bobby pin just to kind of mark your initial rounds to help you out. If you're a little newer, I find sometimes that is quite helpful. So once you have all your materials together, we're ready to get started. Okay, so we're going to begin from the bottom up, And we're gonna start with a cinch circle. So I'm just gonna wrap the yarn around. It's very similar to how you would start a slip knot. Just take my fingers out, insert my hook, and then pull up a loop. It's gonna feel a little wonky. And then I'll try to secure that with a chain 1. Okay, just like that. And I'll just take my tail out there. But make sure you continue to work around the tail. So we're gonna work into the ring here, and we're gonna chain an additional 1. This will not count as anything. It's just gonna give us the height we need. So we're gonna use half double crochet stitches here. So we're gonna yarn over and into the ring. We're gonna pull up a loop and half double crochet. And we're gonna continue doing this until you have a total of 8 half double crochets in your ring. Okay, so I have 8 half double crochets, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull on this short tail, and that is gonna cinch my center shut, just like that. See, so it's nice and tight. And now I wanna find the top of the very first half double crochet. Remember, we are skipping, we are ignoring those chain 2s, and then we are going to insert there and slip stitch. Okay. Just like that. So round 1 is complete. You have 8 stitches. Now we're going to go on to round number 2. So you will chain 1, and back into the very same stitch, you're going to half double crochet. And in fact, you're going to place 2 half double crochets. So there's 1, and there is 2. Okay, just like that. Now you're going to proceed to place 2 half double crochets into each stitch all the way around, okay? And at the end of round number 2, you will have 16 stitches. Okay, so I am at the end of round 2. I have 16 stitches. Now I want to find the top of that very first stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch to join, okay? So round 2 is complete. I have something that looks like that. So now we're going to go on to round number 3. Again, we're going to chain 1. That does not count as anything. Now we're simply going to place 1 half double crochet into that stitch. And then into the next stitch, we're going to place 2 half double crochets. So this is what we call an increase stitch, because we're increasing the number of stitches. And this is what we're going to repeat all the way around. So into the next stitch, you have 1 half double crochet. And into the following stitch, you have 2. So there's 1 and there's 2, okay? And you're gonna just do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way around. At the end of round 3, you should have 24 stitches. I'm at the end of round 3, and I'm just gonna slip stitch to the top of the very first stitch. So I have 24 stitches, and my circle looks like that. So we're going to increase again. We're going to go on to round number 4. You'll chain 1. And this time we're going to start with an increase. So we're going to go into that very first stitch and half double crochet. And then we're going to go again and half double crochet. Okay. And now what we're going to do is into each of the next 2 stitches, we're going to place 1 half double crochet. So there's 1 and there's 2, okay? So in the next one, there's 2 half double crochets, and then we have 1 here and 1 here, okay? So the repeat is now going to be 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, all the way around. At the end of round number 4, you're going to have 32 stitches. So the hook size I'm going to use for this project is actually going to be a 3.75 millimeter hook. I hope you can see that. And it's also known as an F or a size 5. And I'll put a graphic up there on the screen. Okay, I've completed round 4 and I have 32 stitches. You can see I've changed the hook size to the one I'm really going to use. And I just like how the stitches sit a little tighter. I mean, this is meant to protect my speaker. I mean, you're never going to prevent every single particle of dust, but it's more to protect it against scuffs and things that are really going to kind of mark it up a little bit. So that's my 4th round. Now, as I go along, I know this is not big enough, but as I go along, I just take the base of whatever I have, and I measure that so I can see that that's not quite enough yet. So I'm probably going to need at least another couple more rounds. So we're going to go into round number 5. And in round number 5, I'm going to chain 1 again. I will half double crochet into that same stitch. And then I will stitch into the next one and the next one after that. So now I have 3 stitches in between each of my increases. So I've done 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to place 2. Okay. So then I would continue 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, all the way around. So at the end of round number 5, you should have 40 stitches. Okay, round number 5 is complete, and we're going to go into round number 6. As always, we're going to chain 1, and this time I'm going to do 1 double crochet here. And we're going to count 4 individual stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, whoops, and 4. And then into the 5th stitch, we're going to do our increase. Okay, so in round number 6, we are going to increase into every 5th stitch. So then we would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2. So at the end of round number 6, we will have 48 stitches. Okay, so now I'm putting it here. It fits, it like sits perfectly, but I need some wiggle room, right? So we're going to do one more round. We're going to go on to round number 7. And this time our increases are going to happen into every 6th stitch. So I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to start with 2 half double crochets into the very first stitch. Okay, and then I'm going to do 5 stitches in total. So I'm going to do 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I would do my increase again. Okay, so for round number 7, we have 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way around. So at the end of round number 7, you will have 56 stitches in total. Okay, so we have completed 7 rounds, and I kind of put the speaker on top, and it's got a little bit of wiggle room there. So it's not perfectly tight, which we don't want. And so now we're ready to build up the sides of our case here. And this is around the time when I'm going to introduce my white yarn. So I'm going to bring the white yarn in, and I'm not going to snip off. What I'm going to do is I am going to pull that through here. And when I slip stitch, instead of picking up the gray, I'm actually going to pick up the white yarn. Okay, just like this. Pull through and pull through. That's going to give us a much cleaner join. And then I'm just going to chain 1 to secure, just like that. Now we are going to be carrying the gray yarn with us because in this project I will be alternating colors. So now what we're going to do is just to create a nice ridge for the bottom of our case here is we're going to work not into the stitch, not into the loops, but actually around the post. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn my work this way. I'm just going to leave that aside there. And I am going to half double crochet around the post. So this is where I slip stitched. So so see this right here? So you can see that's a stitch right there. And this, if we push through, is the post. And that is what I'm going to work around. Now I'm going to work around it from behind so that it creates a little ridge on the inside. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to reach behind, poke my hook through, and then poke it through around the back. And then I'm going to pull up a loop. Whoops. Still want to have your 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 for your half double crochet. Okay, now I'm going to try to work over my tail here, which I should have done previously, but the gray I'm just going to let hang there, and I'll pick that back up when I come back around. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to work around the post, around the back post. So I'm going to again come in through the back. So this is the next post next to it, and then push through around the front. And just be careful because sometimes the hook can pick up other loops along the way. And I think I'm going to have to weave in that end at the end, just like that, and half double crochet. I'm going to do that one more time because I think that was a little hard to see on that side. So I'm going to yarn over, in through the back, push around the front, and pull up that loop, just like that. And then you resolve like a regular half double crochet. Okay, so what you can see on the bottom is you can see the white portion kind of poking through. And then once your case sits, you see this is creating a little ridge here. Just creates a little bit more of a defined edge for the case. So this might take a little bit of time, especially if you're not used to working back posts. So just go nice and slow, continue to work around every single post, and then I will meet up with you when you've finished this round. Okay, so I'm now coming up to the end of this round, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to slip stitch to the top of the very first stitch, which is right there. And our first base row is complete. And actually, I'm going to have to weave this tail in. I was trying to work over it, but it didn't work out. So you can see it's creating this really nice little ridge here. It's a really defined edge, which is what we want. Then if you look at the bottom, you can see where the back post stitches come out. And I like it because it looks really professional. Okay, so you can see now we've got the base, and now we're going to continue building our way up. No more increases are happening here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to keep the white, and I'm going to work 3 more rounds in the white. Now what I want to do is I do want to carry the gray with me every time I do that. So once I've slip stitched to join, so actually let me take that out. So before I slip stitch to join, I'm going to insert my hook here, but I always want to make sure I pick up the gray and I place it over the white or whatever color that you're carrying. So in this case, I'm carrying the gray, and then I can pull the white through to slip stitch to join, just like that. Okay. And as you can see it traps the gray in there, and then you keep carrying it up every round with you. So we're going to start the next round, chain 1, and then you're going to work your very first stitch. Whoops, I got to weave this in so it gets out of my way. So for this next round, I'm going to go into the next stitch here, and I will half double crochet. And it's just basically 1 half double crochet into each stitch. So we're not going to work around any posts or anything. You're just going to work into each stitch. Okay, just like that. Now, we will come back to this stitch because this is a round where we skipped the very first stitch. So chain 1 doesn't count as anything. So we alternate. One round, we skip and go to the next one, and we fill it in at the end. The following round, we go back into the very first stitch and go all the way around. So we alternate. Sometimes we go in right away. Sometimes we go into the next one. I hope that makes sense. So why I do that is because it helps to keep our seam line fairly straight, which will then help make it kind of disappear. Okay, so go ahead and do 3 more rounds. So this is the second round in the white. I'm going to do a third and a fourth round, and my stitch count should still be 56. Okay, so I have completed 4 rounds of half double crochet stitches. There are no increases here. You can see now it looks like a little bowl in a way. So I've got my bottom here, and you can really see where that edge is nicely defined. And I just stopped here because I wanted to remind you again how I'm going to always continuously carry up the gray yarn. So you can see I've kind of always carried it up every time I join my yarn. Now in this particular instance, I'm actually going to change colors. So I'm going to trap my white yarn here. So instead of slip stitching to join with the white, I'm going to insert into that very first stitch. And I'm going to make sure that the white is laying over the gray so that when I pull the gray to slip stitch like that, that it trapped the white in there. See that? So the white is trapped in, and every time I come around, I will bring my white yarn up, which is why we call it carrying up your yarn, and then take it from there. So we are now going to work with the gray color, and let me just make sure I don't have these two tangled up here. There we go. I like to keep them on separate sides. So for this first round, we are going to do something that I call the slanted spike stitch, okay? And it's just to give it a little bit of texture and a little bit of a fun design. So we're going to chain one, and the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to half double crochet into this very first stitch right here. So half double crochet. Okay, now into the next stitch, we are going to do a half double crochet spike stitch. So we're going to yarn over, insert into the next stitch as usual to pull up a loop. But now we're going to yarn over again, and we're going to go down to the row below. So we've got the stitch here. The row below is here, but I want to slant this stitch. So I'm going to go to one stitch back, and I'm going to insert my hook there. And then I want to pull up a loop. Now I really want to stretch it up because I don't want this to scrunch my work down. So now you're going to have basically 5 loops on your hook. Then you will yarn over and pull through all 5. And that is a slanted spike stitch. So if you're already familiar with the spike stitch, it just means usually we reach down into a row or even 2 rows below the row you're working on to pull up a loop. In this case, I'm creating a slant by moving back a stitch once I go down a row. So I go to the row below and then back 1 stitch, okay? So then what we would do next is we would go into the next stitch and half double crochet, okay? Into the next stitch, we're going to do another spike stitch. So I begin as usual, I yarn over, insert my hook to pull up a loop. See, I keep it nice and relaxed. Then I yarn over and I go down a row or around, I should say. So I go down to the round below and 1 stitch back. And that is where I insert my hook. And then I pull up my loop and I keep them nice and relaxed just like that. And again, I have 5 loops on the hook. Now I yarn over and I pull through all 5. So now you can see the effect of the slanted spike stitch. And so this is the repeat. You're just going to alternate. You're always going to place 1 half double crochet and then a slanted spike, a half double, a slanted, a half double, a slanted, and you're going to do that all the way around, okay? And so this is always going to be your first round every time you repeat your 4 rounds. So our color blocking is going to be in 4 rounds. So I did 4 rounds of white. So we didn't do any spike stitches because this was our first set. So I will then have 4 of gray, 4 of white, 4 of gray, 4 of white. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish this first round just so you can see the full effect, and then I will meet you back here shortly. Okay, so I have just done a half double crochet stitch. Look at how pretty that looks. And so I have room to fit 1 more slanted because remember, when we chained 1, we skipped into the next stitch. So we're going to ignore that chain 1 here, and we are going to work our next and final spike stitch here. So we're going to go right in there. We're going to insert our hook, and while I can, I actually always throw that white yarn over so that it gets trapped. See how it's getting trapped in there? And that just makes it easy to keep it being brought up to the next round. So I've got that there. I'm going to yarn over again, and this time I'm going to go down and over 1, just like that. Again, that yarn's getting trapped in there, and then pull through all 5. Okay, and now I'm going to slip stitch to join to the top of that first half double crochet stitch, And again, I'm going to just make sure that it traps that white yarn. See that? And just make sure you don't bring the white yarn through because we're still working on our gray. So now I can just throw that one back there and we are good to go. So on the inside, you can see, so it's being brought up just ever so subtly, just like that. Is that not pretty? So now you can really see the effect of that slanted spike stitch. I just think by slanting it just gives a little extra something. So, I mean, you could just sit it like that if you wanted to create a nice little mini bowl there. But we're going to continue on to cover our speaker. And actually, I have it right here. I'm just going to test it out there. That's perfect. So I do want it to kind of be slightly relaxed. And that is lovely. So what we're going to do now for the gray, the rest of the gray, all we're going to do is we're going to go back to our regular half double crochet stitches. Let's get that white out of the way there. So as always, you're going to chain one. And this time I'm going to go right back into that very first stitch and half double crochet. And that's what you're going to do all the way around. So you're going to work right into those stitches, half double crochet. So you're going to do this for 3 more rounds. So you're going to finish this round plus 2 more. And the spike stitch round will always be your first round of your color block. Okay, so remember, every color chunk has 4 rounds. The white had 4. This one's going to have 4. So this is the repeat. You are going to do 3 rounds. So sorry, you will do 1 round of these slanted spikes, then you do 3 rounds of half double crochet stitches. You will then switch colors, and then so at that point we'll go back to the white, and then you always begin with a spike stitch round and 3 rounds of half doubles. Change color, spike, half double crochet for 3 rounds. So you're going to continue that repeat until you get the height of your particular item. Now, my speaker here measures about 8 inches and 3/4. What is that in centimeters? So it's about 8 3/4. So that's about 22.5 centimeters. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue my height until about 9.5. So I want there to be, so see at the top, I want there to be a bit of a lip. So I'm adding about 3/4 of an inch to it. Or if you're working in metric, you're probably going to add another 2 to 2.5 centimeters. Okay. So for now, you're probably going to pause this video for a while, and maybe you're going to hang out and watch your favorite show. And you're just going to keep repeating these 4 rows, or these 4 rounds, I should say, until you get the height that you need. Okay, so I have done a total of 34 rounds, and as you can see, my speaker fits in here nicely, and it just gave me a little extra lip. So you can see I've only done 2 rounds of the white here, and I'm going to leave that there. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to create some handles. Okay, so I have only done 2 rounds of the white. I'm going to bring back the gray, and that's how I want to end it off, because I've got a gray bottom and I want to kind of top it off with a gray top here. So I'm going to do 1 round of half double crochets here, just as usual, and 1 into each stitch. And then I'm going to come back around and I'm going to show you guys how we're going to create our handles. So I just wanted to come back and show you what I was doing, that I was just changing it up a little bit with regards to the color. So I'm going to finish this round, and then I'm going to come back and show you how we're going to create our handles. Okay, so I finished round number 35. So round 32 is at the end of the gray, 33, 34, 2 rounds of the white. This is round 35 we've completed. And actually, I can now snip my white yarn because I'm no longer going to need it. And then I'll just weave that in through the inside. So let's talk about creating our handles. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, and we're going to half double crochet into each of the next 11 stitches. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so now we need to create our handle. And by the way, this is pretty much the similar type of structure as you would create for a wine bottle. So if you'd like to use this pattern for a wine bottle holder, you can certainly do the same thing. Now I'm creating this with two handles that you can just stick your fingers in through and hold. Some people like to create the little cinch top at the top. I do actually have a wine bottle holder tutorial already on this channel, and I'll leave a link to it in the description box down below if you wanted to use this pattern with that design. But we're just going to create nice easy handles that you can just scoop your hand through and carry this to go. So this case is more designed just to kind of keep it from getting dirty every time I put it into my dance bag. So what we're going to do now is we are going to chain 10. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 9 and 10. Okay, great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip 6 stitches. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Into the 7th stitch, I'm just going to continue to place a half double crochet. Just like that. So you've now created your first handle opening, okay? We're now going to half double crochet into the next 21 stitches. Okay, so I've now half double crocheted 22 stitches. Remember, we did an additional 21 after we did this first half double crochet. So now I'm going to create my second handle. So I'm going to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other side. I'm going to skip 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and into the 7th stitch, I will place my next half double crochet. Just like that. And now I should have 10 stitches remaining. So I am going to then just half double crochet 1 stitch into each all the way to the end of this round. And then I'm going to slip stitch to join. And then we will go on to the next round. So I'm just going to take you through there just because I'm almost there. Okay. And so here we chained 1, but we didn't stitch right into the first stitch. We went to the next one. So we are going to go into that stitch and keep a nice even stitch count. Okay, so now we're going to slip stitch to join the round. Now we are not done. So just because we've created the openings, you can see that would be a pretty flimsy handle. So now we're going to do a couple more rounds just to fortify this handle. So again, I'm going to chain 1. And into the very same stitch, I'm going to half double crochet, and I'm going to keep going until I get to my handle. And then we're actually going to work into those chains. But I want to show you what I'm going to do to make sure that I just get a little bit of extra fortification there. Okay, so just kind of speeding through this part because you guys have already seen the half double crochet stitch. So this is my last stitch before I get to the handle. So we have these chains here. Now you can absolutely just work into the tops of the V's. It would make life a lot easier. But I want to make sure that this is extra sturdy. So what I'm going to do, see these back bumps here? I want to make sure that I work into that stitch so that the 2 top loops sit on the top. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to yarn over. And I'm just going to kind of turn it this way slightly. I'm going to insert my hook into that bottom bump, which is technically the top bump if I turned it over. And then I pull a loop through from underneath. Okay, just like that. And then half double crochet. Okay, so that you're picking up both of these loops at the top. I'm going to do it one more time. It's not the end of the world if you just go into the stitch. Again, if you're newer, you might not be crazy about this method, but if you're a little bit experienced and you want to add some fortification, this is what I would do. So I'm just going to turn my work here so I can see that bump. And from the top to the bottom, I'm just going to help it along here. This is why it's important that you don't chain too tightly. And then I reach for the loop underneath so that it is under the stitch. And I pull it through and I half double crochet. So you can see it's now creating a nice seamless kind of joining over that little gap there. And that's all you're going to do all the way across. Once you get to the other side, it's one stitch into each, and then you do the same thing across here, and then you just continue one stitch into each until you get to the end. You'll slip stitch to join, and I will be doing one more round, okay? So I would finish this round and then do an additional round before you fasten off. It's just going to give your handles a little extra fortification. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these next two rounds, and then we will just about be done. Okay, guys, so I have finished my case, and I am very happy with how that came out. So you can see it fits perfectly. The handle is just fantastic, and we are good to go. Okay, so let me just take out the speaker here so you can have a closer look. So I did that second round for the handle. So you can see it just gives it a little bit more girth there and strength. And there, the odd time, I will actually do another round of slip stitches just to really give it some fortification. This time I didn't. I just didn't feel that I needed it. It's really just to act as a protector for my speaker and not necessarily as like I'm going to carry it around a lot. And it's pretty strong as it is. So I'm really happy with that. And I love how the slanted spike just gives this really pretty little texture here. It is so cute. And hopefully you found it fairly easy. So if you have any detailed questions, just feel free to drop them for me in the comment box down below. And if you choose to email me instead, I know some of you do, email me directly at info@crochetcrafty.com, and I'll be very happy to answer any questions you may have. So it's quick and sweet. And like I said before, if you want to use this design as a wine bottle holder, that would work out really great too. You just might need perhaps a few extra rounds to go further, to give you the height that you're looking for. And again, I do have a wine bottle holder tutorial already done. And as I said, it'll be in the description box down below, especially if you want to add a different type of opening at the end. So the slanted spike stitch is what we use to create the texture, and you are off and running. So guys, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and had fun working on something slightly different. And if you are new here and enjoyed this tutorial, I invite you to press that subscribe button. Come hang out with me every Wednesday when I upload a brand new video. And make sure to check out the website, crochetcrafty.com. There are a lot of great resource tools there for you. They're absolutely free. You can download them, as well as there are a lot of free patterns, as well as links to my Etsy shop. So make sure to do that. And come say hi to me. I'm on Facebook and Instagram at The Stitch Sessions. All right, guys, have an amazing day. Happy crocheting. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys in next week's session. Bye-bye.